We can hear you.
We hear you.
I'm going to turn you up. Hold on a second. I'll see. Nope, they can't. I'm watching you right. Yeah, you're right. I'm just looking right now. There's nothing. Well, they're going to see. Well, they got me, though. All right. Well, hey, guys, I'm going to do my intro because I'm going to say that's the most botched intro we've had so far, but that's fucking okay. Welcome, fans of power. I'm Joe Amato, and I'm here with my partners in crime, Tyler T-Rex Baker and Nasty Nathan Kennedy, who is having fucking audio issues, but don't worry. He'll get that shit straightened up here.
It's Sid Vicious approved. We can't have a better opening than I mean, if Sid was here, he would approve of this.
Yeah. And who's that back you on the screen again, Tyler? Who's that guy?
This is Robert Vaughn from Basketball, the man from Uncle. Probably people know him from, but I'll always know him as Baxter Kane from Basketball. And I just was appropriate. I didn't have any He-Man stuff for me to play, and I had Basketball here while I'm at Erica's. I'm like, I want to put this on the background. So if I make any kind of points that sound frustrating to me, look at Robert Vaughn here. And I want people to remember this image, like especially next week when we talk about the sandbox of shit. I want you to remember how this image of frustration, I want it branded, embedded in your brain for all three of us.
I got my mic fixed.
Because when you were saying, what's funny?
Hello.
Oh, you did? Oh, good. Go ahead,
hello,
Nathan.
Guys.
You take over.
I need to get myself in my boundary. But yeah, I was going to be like, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 263 of the Fans of Power podcast. I'm the man who made it through the 4-hour-long Snyder cut of Justice League, Nathan Kennedy.
Is this where I'm
No, not yet.
Are you going to do it?
Joe.
Because
and I was going to be like, okay. I'm here with the guru of celebrity interview, Tyler Baker, because the dude's just been killing it on all these interviews lately. Yeah, well, what happened, guys? If you're wondering, for whatever reason, I did not mess with this, but my video capture source in OBS went to default for the microphone, so I had to go in there and reset it to my Yeti. So I don't know why that happened exactly, but hey, I mean, whatever. At least we fixed
my
it.
peanut brain could not process anything you were just talking about. I know.
I'm
getting references.
Joe's brain just kind of floated out of his
head. If it were up to these two guys to run this aspect of the show, holy shit, we would be in trouble. We really would be. Yeah,
you'd be done. If it was me, we would be lucky we get any.
And I wouldn't show up for class because I don't understand any of the terminology or any of that stuff. I just sit back and just hope for the best.
Hold your hand up like Tom Hanks. Yeah. I don't get it.
And I think maybe I finally fixed Tyler's issue with his camera going all over the place. I hope anyway. I think I did the right thing to get all of that squared away. So, yeah. Whatever, that was a huge botch for the opening, but I think the people that listen to us on iTunes, mostly iTunes that I've noticed, and Spotify and Google Podcasts and et cetera, they won't know, but anyone watching YouTube will be like, what the hell happened here? Yeah.
Way to go, Nathan. Let me say hello to all these guys in the chat room, and then you can keep rambling. We got Papa Hood 69, Sean D, Zentron, Grimbot, Carlos Cesaris. Oh, Carlos, man, would you message me, please, on Facebook so I quit doing that?
Saskatchewan.
I'm so sorry. Zen Brown, Gavin the Nerd. I think I said Fedmon already. I apologize. Andy Yossi, Daniel Carhoonan. I forgot Nathan. Adam Gabbert. I think I almost got everybody. I'm getting to the bottom. And Johnny Cock is here.
Gotta have that cock, bud. Gotta have that cock.
Aaron
I
Anderson.
wish they had like a clip of Powers Booth saying cock.
Johnny.
Eric Muniz.
Johnny cock.
Eric Muniz, Sportimus, and now I think I did get Jaime Mares and Michael Purvis. And now I did get everybody. So if I missed anybody, I apologize. Thank you for joining us. But Nathan, I'll pass to you. I didn't know what you're going to start with. If you're going to do the thing I'm thinking, you let me know. I'll take the thing out of my ear and you give me the thumbs up.
I can't believe Joe was even going to watch this. Like I told Nathan,
what the hell?
I'm stuff like.
Well, hell, when there's nothing else on TV, it's like I'll watch it. But are you ready?
To watch paint dry on the grass road?
My thing.
Or you could do another Errol McCarthy tank top. That's a better way to spend your time than this.
I'm like,
and we'll get to that too.
Who's Joe still in HBO from? I know we can't divulge that information.
Oh, that's an excellent point.
Anyway, no, Joe, don't.
He's pirating free cable
just yet. I want to. We'll kind of briefly touch on our subject matter this week. I know it seems a little sort of confusing, and we will elaborate with this topic once we really delve into it. But it is what if the '87 live action film had been successful, and we have some art that.
Which and I want John Atkin to know we don't think it was a flop.
Yeah, you'll see the direction we're going. It's not what you think. That's why anybody
come up with some sort of, it's all-encompassing title. It's just what worked easier for Nathan to give this episode a title. We're not saying it was a flop.
Yeah, well, I guess in terms of sort of box office receipts compared to other stuff that was coming out, you could.
Yeah, and that's why he titled it. He said successful at the box office, and he didn't say, what if the '87 movie was good? He didn't do it like that, because then that would imply, was it supposed to be shit? And then you get people pissed off. So this way, I think people understand the concept.
Yeah, then we'd be like those assholes at Comic Book Resources who like to shit, piss, and shit all over. Top 10 reasons why He-Man's homoerotic. Top 10 reasons why He-Man's sex.
It's about if all things had clicked the correct way when that movie had come out, what would have happened with the property? Because
with the whole brand,
because it seems like there were things that were being set in motion if everything clicked correctly. But Joe, you can go ahead and remove your earbuds, and I will.
All right, you give me the middle finger or thumbs up when you're done.
One or the other when we're done here.
Yeah, probably the latter.
All right. And there'll be a 30-second delay.
I know.
Remember when I see you on there.
That'll give me the opportunity to be like, Joe, you fucking prick, and I'll just be smiling and doing that the whole time. But many of you know, it was the long-awaited Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. If you guys do not know the story behind all of this, he's the guy that really rose to popularity, did the remake, which I thought was great, of Dawn of the Dead. He started doing some other projects, became involved with DC, did Man of Steel. It
sucked, man. There was
it was what it was, right? But once that happened, they were like, "This is our guy," and it's like, okay, they're playing catch up with Marvel and the MCU and the cinematic universe that's going on. Unfortunately, as they were wrapping up filming and going into editing and everything, Zack Snyder's daughter had committed suicide. He decided to step away. Joss Whedon, who most of you know from Buffy fame, and he did a couple of the Avengers movies, came in, and they kind of went a different direction and sort of hodgepodged it together. It came out, a lot of people were like, what is this? I totally understand. So HBO Max was, hey, we'll give them the money, the resources to finish, make it his vision of what he wanted to do. And it is 4 hours long. And I watched it over 2 nights. I watched it Friday night. I made sure I got about 2 hours in, and then I finished the rest of it last night. I was texting Tyler. I sent messages to a couple other friends. My opinion of it is, if you are a fan of what Zack Snyder had set into motion and had created, then I think you will enjoy this quite a bit. Me personally, I didn't enjoy it that much, but I will say that it is infinitely better than what we got with the theatrical cut that Joss Whedon did. They cut out a lot of the silly shit, all the stupid jokes that to try to make it more like a Marvel film. I commend them for giving him the opportunity to make that happen and put that out there for everybody, but it's just too drab. It's like so dark and just like blah the whole time. And the first half of it for me was such... If I didn't have alcohol to sit through it, it all probably would have felt worse. But there were times I'm just sitting there just kind of audibly groaning. Just like, how much is left? Whatever. But it is a more cohesive story of what they were wanting to try to tell. So you get what you get there. The second half of it is a little bit stronger. It kind of picked up, and I'm like, all right, well, this isn't as bad. But overall, I just walked away from it just thinking, like, it's nice that it exists for everybody, but it's not my cup of tea. But if you guys like it and you like that universe, I'm glad that this was made available to you. It's cool that things like that get to happen given the circumstances, because they could have just put that thing out in theaters, deemed it a failure, and left it at that. But they're like, all right, well, this is what it should have been. And I think they were going to split it up into 2 parts anyway, theatrically, from what I remember. I thought it was going to be Justice League Part 1 and 2, but you get a scene with Joker at the end, and sorry guys, spoilers on that end, I guess, but you kind of seen it if you watched any of the trailers or anything, that Joker's there, Batman drops an F-bomb. It wasn't too, like, blatantly, like, oh god, why did they do that? But, that's how I walked away from it at the end. Even after 4 hours, it's bloated. The slow motion, holy shit. Like, just overdrive on the slow motion. You could probably, if you put that thing at like 2x speed, you'd probably finish it way faster, because there was so much slow motion. And I don't agree with Ezra Miller being cast as the Flash. I just don't think that works. But it had some ebbs and flows. It did have its moments to it. There were moments in it that I was like, okay, yeah, that's not bad. But it was just too much. Too much for me. And yet, somehow, I continue to think about it today for some reason. So, it left an impression, good or bad. I'm still thinking about it, so I guess that means something. But I'm glad it's out there. I'm glad it exists for people that can consume it and enjoy it. But the people that are coming out right and saying, it's a masterpiece. Chef's kisses everywhere. This is cinema. I'm just like, oh, no, man. It's to me anyway. My opinion. I'm like, no, that's really not. It's not even a good comic book movie. But it is what it is. If you like that universe, you're gonna love it. If you don't, you're not gonna like this. That's how that is. It's tomato with most people. It's either it needs to be lighter. And I'm sorry I'm boring the shit out of Joe here. It's lighter. You'll be a Marvel guy. If you want it just to be like super drab and depressing and world is pain and everything's pointless, which I mean I am that guy, but even watching this I was like, it's too much. It's just too much. And there was a lot of Batfleck popping up, showing up. Like, he'd be in the suit a little bit, or he'd always show up after the fights. Just walk in and be like, oh, hey, everybody, Batman's here. Did you know my parents died? Like, that's what it seemed like every time. He wouldn't say anything, but he would just show up and pop up after certain things. I'm just like, oh, you now you decide to be here? It's just, whatever. I've rambled on long enough about it, so... Hey, Joe, you fucking prick. Look at the screen. I got my thumbs up. Here we go. We're good. We're good now. He's not even gonna look. So I'll just keep doing that. He'll see it eventually. Sportimus said a polished turd is still a turd. I agree. But yeah, now Joe's gonna put his. Yeah.
I just seen your thumbs up.
You picked a great opportune time to just look anywhere else.
No, it was a 30-second delay. I seen the thumbs up. All right. Well, I have no idea what you said, but I hope everybody enjoyed it. I'm sure they did. And, want to transition to the topic? And, of course, we'll talk about the other thing, like with the one thing I did with Kevin Sharp. We could do that, like, after we do this topic. But, yeah, now, for those who were wondering about what this topic is, we're not just talking about the movie and then, let's just keep running the movie or anything like that. It's, what we were saying is that you started seeing in a lot of the merchandise, not just the shirts, pajamas, but also you've seen stuff in comics for like the Star Marvel comics, and they even had stuff planned past that, which, okay, you look at some of the stuff here of just the amazing Errol McCarthy art. As you can see, I think Mattel was obviously really banking on this movie being a box office smash. And if so, they had so many plans with obviously the art there, the comics, maybe they would have kept on going. Possibly could there have been a sequel? Where would Masters have been? That's what I guess the basic thing is. Where could it have gone? Would there even have been a New Adventures of He-Man if this line would have kept going? Because what if Masters was successful with the movie? Then they kept doing toys, and the toys spawned into two different directions. You'd have the Powers of Grayskull line, but then you could have the regular line, and also it included this new look of He-Man. Because, I mean, as you noticed with the laser power He-Man figure, it has the influence of a Dolph Lundgren head. But then, obviously, then they switched it over and gave the vintage one. So I don't know if they said, oh, shit, this didn't work. Let's do this as an option. Either way, two options. But even the toys are doing, like, here's the thing. I remember getting this when eBay first came around, and I know this isn't his armor. It's just spare armor I put on from a Mega Laser. Or not Mega Laser, I think it was.
Stilt Stalker.
Stilt Stalker,
right.
Yeah. Yes, that's why I switched, because I was like, wait a second, not Mega Laser, still. But as you can see, yeah, it's like this fucker didn't come with it because I got it on eBay. It was a super cheap price, like $60 just naked. So I don't have the sword, don't have the real armor. But either way, you see it's in there. It was in the comics. It's in this art. And then could there have been, obviously, a sequel to the movie? What could have happened? So we're just going to go on our hypothetical rant, but so much shit. I mean, I didn't know about all the Errol McCarthy art. I mean, obviously I have the one packed up pajamas that I do not want to open, but a lot of people were, lucky enough to get those pajamas and a lot of the other stuff. But there's so many of these pieces, like, shit, I don't even know. Did they all make it onto pajamas? I'm assuming, maybe. But it's lost cool pieces of art and shit of something that I'm sure they were hoping was it'd be a big success. And, well, it didn't pan out that way. And I know that when we had William Stout on, he talked about, like, it increased from week 2 and 3, but they couldn't afford to keep it because obviously them going bankrupt, they couldn't afford to keep it in studios no more, and they got pulled. I know we had the interview, and Tyler, maybe you can elaborate more because, my brain shuts off half the time, but it makes you think, God, if they had the money to keep it in the theaters, could it, have made a lot more? But go ahead. We're just going to be running in all sorts of directions.
Yeah, it's obviously it was making money, and I like, it's always good to reiterate it because still that consistency is out there. People who never take the time to actually watch it, they just piggyback off all the other idiots that like to dismiss it as this cheesy 80s flop, is that it was making money. It just was, unfortunately, being made by a company that was biting off more than it can chew with 3 big budget films for a low budget film company, and He-Man was one of the casualties of their poor decision making. And I mean, for Mattel to pretty much give word to Errol, hey, we're going to start using He-Man's new look in the movie to use in our merchandising and apparel and other avenues, and obviously they felt pretty secure in that. I'm kind of surprised that we didn't get any more, because when the movie figures came out, we just got Blade, Saurod, and Gwildor, and they emphasized the movie on the sticker. And it's kind of surprising that they, which either they were waiting either till the movie came out to put out more, like those. It just kind of makes you wonder if they were already thinking this. Why weren't other characters, like why wasn't Karg or why wasn't He-Man Skeletor immediately put into that last wave to coincide with the movie? Like, why was the decision just to go with 3, but then they greenlit, the pajamas and had Errol do movie He-Man versus Ninjor, movie He-Man with the Sorceress King Randor, movie He-Man fighting Skeletor on top of a building in the city, and another illustration of He-Man inside the city with Skeletor's silhouette on the moon. Like, all these images to promote this is the direction we're going in, along with the current cast of heroes and villains. It just kind of really makes you feel like they were really, really close to pushing this new look of He-Man. That's what they were going with on the merchandise. Like, that's a big step, because when Battle Armor comes out, you see Battle Armor on everything. When Thunder Punch comes out, you see that on everything. They were really banking on this new look, and it's odd that they kept using the same look of Skeletor, but He-Man was, I mean, He-Man is the flagship, but Skeletor is just as much flagship as He-Man is. And it kind of makes you wonder why Errol wasn't. Maybe we'll have to get Errol on here and just see if he happens to remember why Skeletor was illustrated in his classic form, not even Terror Claws or anything that was currently out at the time. All kinds of questions. And he may not know. He may have just been given some instructions on what to do. But it just kind of leaves you wondering that they were going in the direction with the movie. Powers of Grayskull's coming out. And then you think of the figures that were done by Errol that were never released. Like, well, we got Lord Grasp, Hotshot / Plasmar, and Terror, which were made-up names.
And Strobo.
And Strobo. Those figures were coming too. So you kind of think, well, are we getting a new faction of villains? Were these going to be evil warriors, horde members, snake men, or something else altogether? And you got movie He-Man leading the way with Strobo and Hotshot / Plasmar. Like, you just kind of felt like, man, where was this? And then you had the connection with Hero, because Joe's got don't you have the pajamas too of Hero with Gigantosaur?
That's the one pair I don't have. I have the one with Turbodactyl and the one with Tyrannosaurus Rex. But we've seen that. But you're right. It's obviously he was given the green light on two probably separate things that were going to be coming. And like, you brought up a good point when you were talking about, okay, we got Blade, Saurod, and Gwildor, but why wasn't He-Man or anybody else? I'm thinking and guaranteeing they probably wanted to have a movie He-Man ready. But with that look, as you've seen, that probably I guarantee you was then taken and put to Laser Power He-Man. They were like, this is so far removed. I don't know if we should do this yet. First, let's just introduce these 3 new characters. And if the movie's hot, then we can bring out He-Man, Skeletor, and the others maybe in a later wave. Because hell, even if you look at the Laser Light Skeletor, his face is quite ugly and different. It almost looks like if you could paint that up white, you might get a nasty Frank Langella look. It had a cape. It had a hood. There's always those possibilities. Like, were these the looks that they were going to use, based off of the movie? But then they're like, fuck, the movie failed. All right, well, we could still reuse this for something else. And here came Laser Light. Here came Laser Power. And, of course, influenced looks that went into New Adventures because same kind of designs, especially when you look at Skeletor and Laser Light Skeletor. But it does make you wonder, like, we would love to try to get Arrow on this show. Now, I don't know if he's open to doing podcasts or what he's willing to divulge, or even what he could remember, because that's been a long time since he worked on it. As a lot of the artists, they were just, they work, they do what they had needed to be done, but maybe they didn't know a lot of information. But I'd love to try to get him on the show and pick his brain, because going past all this merchandise that we're seeing here for the t-shirts, then you look at the Star Marvel comics, look at issue 13. Skeletor had that look, when you got to issue 30, he had that look that was kind of movie-like. And then, out of nowhere, here comes fucking James Eatock, who has this issue 14 that nobody ever seen that he showed parts of in Serial Geek. And sure as shit, look at He-Man. He-Man's got the movie outfit now. It's like, I guarantee they were wanting that to be their new flagship, the new way they were going to go. Then the fucking movie failed, and then, there went the comic, and it sucks we couldn't get that comic. And I think they were even going to do more beyond that. I'll pass again back to you, and hell, even Nathan, if you want to throw in, your thoughts on the whole shit, too. But, man, just what could have been, and where would Masters have spun in what direction if that movie did, if it was a smash at the box office?
I've been manually clicking through the images that you sent me, and right now we have this image from Star Comics, but I'm going to go ahead and move it to this next part and read this excerpt that is here. That's you guys will see it, but I'll go ahead and read it to you here. It says, unpublished issues? Even though issue 13 would prove to be the final issue of the series, it appears that plans were well underway for more stories. The splash page illustration you will see over leaf following the illustration of He-Man is actually from the unproduced issue 14 of the Master Universe comic under the title War and Peace. It appears that the series was going to take a drastic new direction, as we see not only a fleet of Horde Batmechs, but also He-Man wearing his costume from the live-action movie. And I will go ahead and you guys had that one image there. I'll switch to the thing that says War and Peace here. One thing that kind of sticks with me, and the thing that immediately came to mind when Joe decided that this was the topic that we were going to talk about this week, is the live-action film came out in 1987, and yet I remember specifically, and Joe, I kind of want to get more of your perspective from this because, we joke about it, but you are a few years older than Tyler and myself. There is a scene in Ghostbusters 2, which would have filmed in 1988, and came out in 89, where they're like, who you gonna call? And the kids are like, He-Man. So it still seems like that during that period between the live action film and New Adventures, that there was still some popularity there. So
there was. I mean, sure, the stuff like there was syndication on things, but it was still a hunger of wanting masters. I mean, I was still on the search for anything I could find, and eventually we knew it wasn't to be no more. And I always do remember when I first heard that in Ghostbusters 2, when they said that, I was losing my shit because it almost gave me false hope. I was like, wait, is something now going to happen? Because I haven't heard that name spoken, in media for for a while. For me, it felt like ages, but it was, like you said, a little over a year. But that got me excited. I mean, yes, He-Man still was, he was still popular. I mean, I know it was all dwindling, new toys, different things, and of course he went away, but it was still there. And, like the movie when it came out, yeah, I remember going to theaters to see it, and I said yes, I was disappointed. It just wasn't what I was thinking. Not of any of the reasons that Tyler has seen so many times online about Battle Cat or, Eternity or Castle Grayskull. It's just there was things I was expecting, but I've said that too many times, it's like a broken record. But I still enjoyed the characters when we got the figures. When I got Blaze, Solrod, and Gwildor, I mean, I was losing my shit. I fucking love those figures, and I wanted to be hot, but there was not really much, like at school or with my friends in a clique. Nobody, unfortunately, was talking about the damn movie.
It's very clear that the popularity with this property had definitely waned, for sure. Like,
yeah, it was going.
I mean, even Mattel has said, like, when 86 hit, that's when they had their massive drop. Like 85 was the pinnacle, and then when they get into 86, when the Snake Men are introduced, I'm not putting blame on them, but the sales dropped, and that's when they changed their tune on what went into the live action movie, where they were constantly putting restrictions on what they could and couldn't do, and then the sales dropped. Do whatever you want.
Was there ever a point that you guys know of, and I'll pass this out to the chat too if either of you don't, was there, with as hot as the property was at this point, was there a bidding war to obtain the property to put it on screen? Because Canon Films...
that's something we wouldn't have remembered. I know it's
Canon gave, like, I guess, like the most, because I think Universal was like the one company, I think, that was, I mean, because they shopped it around, but when Canon offers their deal, which is, they're the cheap heat, and when they're saying they can,
didn't Mattel have to front almost all the movie? Didn't Mattel basically have to front the money for that movie?
They paid for it. That Canon talked them into putting up the first half of the money, and then when it was time for Canon to put up the other half, they refused to do it. And I'm sure, because William Stout says they just said no, and there may be other reasons behind it other than them just saying we're not doing it. They were also in financial strain, and probably just said we can't do it, or we're just not going to do it. We'll keep. I mean, it was.
Superman 4 the other main movie they were working at the same time with Masters of the Universe? Was it Superman 4 and Masters?
They keep linking Superman 4 to this. I don't think that's really the case. It's just the fact that they were spending so much money on the Superman film, paying Sylvester Stallone a lot of money for Over the Top, and then you've got...
I loved Over the Top too, goddammit. That's the thing. I loved Over the Top.
I'm just saying that it was just they were spending money left and right, and they couldn't deliver the goods on any of this.
So many damn movies.
In terms of, like, they were cutting corners left and right on movies that needed to have. If you're going to do it, make sure this is your one picture for the year. And of course, they were just, they were doing well, which is probably why they got cocky and thought they could do all three of these.
Yeah, because didn't they put more movies out than any fucking company, like, in a year? I mean, I thought they went overboard.
Yeah, Stout said they had 84 films in production. That's an exact quote.
Good God.
Which he says, like, Warner Brothers would have, I think, 8. So for Canon, but Canon also too, like, people like to make fun of them, but yeah, they made some dog shit films, but they also made classics that the three of us treasure and adore, and I'm sure a lot of you out there too. I mean, they were constantly like, they would advertise movies that weren't even pre-production, no script. They would just advertise a title and an actor, and just would want people to finance that film because we got this guy is going to star in this film with this other actor. It's going to be the biggest film in 1987. We just need you to finance the film.
Oh man.
They were just pirates.
It's basically like like porno movies in a way. You know, like just like the seediness of it. Of we'll do this. Where are we gonna get the money from? We'll have to get it from here, and the company will have to pay. I'm sure there was a lot of deals where it's like, well, we can do this, and then the company's like, okay. And then they start to film it, and then Canon goes back. It's like, well, actually, you're gonna have to pay for this. You did know that, right? And they're like, what? No. And then you get the you get the look like what Tyler has in behind him on the TV from those guys. Like, what? No. But
you're supposed to come up with the rest of the money. I'm sorry, but we're dirt poor. We're gonna have to file bankruptcy. If you want your film finished, you're gonna have to,
yeah. And I highly recommend that you guys, if you haven't seen it yet, check out Electric Boogaloo, which is a documentary based off of Canon films. It kind of gives you more information in terms of that. Yeah, there's a couple parts on it. I'm like, oh, why you got to do that, man? But
and that's what I feel like the film doesn't really paint Canon in the most like fair light. The narrative is like they were a shit company and all they wanted was just make fun of everything they did without wait, guys, they made movies that are still being talked about today. That's why I kind of feel like it is good. I like it a lot, but they're not fair. Like everybody they interview is dogging every film that they made. Like they're not giving credit to the films that were box office hits that people liked and we're going back to see more and more of this actor in this movie. Like they kept making them for a reason. And of course, everyone in that film just dogs everything that they made, as if like they didn't have an idea of how to make any kind of movie. Which is funny because that's the whole reason that this documentary exists, because they left that mark with what they did. So it seems kind of silly to go back and just be like, that was dog shit. When it's like, no, man, it wasn't. Go check out some of the stuff that these big companies are pumping out these days with their lack of originality. And you go back and look at all this stuff that came out back then. At least they were trying shit. At least they had original thoughts.
Did you ever think you'd see an arm wrestling movie? Did you ever think you'd see something like that?
That's what I was about to say. I'm like, they made a movie about arm wrestling, for fuck's sake. Like,
I still don't think I've ever seen a fucking arm wrestling movie besides
they'll
Over
remake
the Top.
it.
I mean,
they'll remake it at some
I
point.
don't know.
They have to, right? There's going to be a thing where they'll. Yeah.
I see Lionsgate doing it with The Rock.
No, Rock's too big now. Rock's got his own shit. Which, hey.
Well, Stallone was one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest star at the time, when they paid him that ungodly amount of money to play Over the Top. I'm just saying, I
think most of that,
because there are no current action heroes. And
The Rock is an action hero.
Well,
I would say that if you could take Rock, given his size and his charisma, if you dumped him in the 80s, he probably would have made some shit that you would have liked. I guarantee that.
Well, and I'm at that point. I'm like, I can be fair. And it's just a shame he doesn't make anything that interests me, because everything is about winking at the camera and making the white bread families like super like, oh my god, he's so funny because he winked at the camera and he doesn't take anything seriously. Like that's why I'll never take him seriously. Is that he doesn't want to make?
Were all right. I watched them both. They're all right. They are okay for what they are. That's probably not that offensive. I'm watching Young Rock, the show that he's doing on it. I think that's great because he's telling stories as a kid. We're getting all that. The dude that they cast as Macho Man in that, though, they could have done way better. Like, that guy doesn't do a good macho impression. They have Vince McMahon in there for a second, and he doesn't sound, oh god, he doesn't sound like this. He just sounds like a normal guy, like, talking. I'm like, no, that's not... You gotta, goddamn, pal, you gotta really, like, You
wish you were dubbing his voice,
don't you? Like, when we were watching it, I looked at Emily, and I was like, that's not right. And he's be like, oh, come on.
Well, now I'm going to spin something to Tyler in the chat room in a different direction, because it's as we were, doing. Now, if the movie was successful and you've seen all this merchandise and stuff, couple things, like I said, for Tyler and the chat. First, do you think, obviously, since they were pushing that movie design look, do you think that could have caught on with fans? They would have accepted, with open arms as much as his original look? Or do you think it would have still been a hard sell?
I think it would have been sent along the lines of Flying Fist, Thunder Punch, and Battle Armor. Like, yeah, it's a different look than what we originally got, but you knew it was still He-Man. if the movie was making money and it had been left out there in theaters to make profit, I mean, look, if you want to say a movie is dead on arrival, then look at something like Meteor Man. That's like the first thing that comes to mind. I think of because that was like a legendary film that arrived on a Friday and was out that weekend.
I rented that. We rented that.
I did too because I remember seeing ads for it on the back of comic books, thinking it was going to be great.
I watched it that one time. I have not seen it since.
I got it on VHS. I liked it. But
I wanted to like it. I remember there were moments that I thought were okay, and I was like, I couldn't wait for him to get in the suit and fight crime.
It made me wish I could get a rock like that to get that power. It's like, oh, how cool would that be? Because even Bill Cosby got some of the power. God.
But it was cool to see all the cameos in it too. But it left no impression. Like when him and Big Daddy Kane start doing like this dance.
You know what? Now I kind of want to watch Meteor Man. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, Nathan will text me at 4:00.
I can imagine Joe watching that and just going and rummaging around parts unknown, going to dumpsters. Is there a meteor rock in here? It's like, no, that's just another hobo that took a shit.
Maybe that's gotten my affinity for dumpsters is trying to look for shit like that. Like, I'm gonna get it somewhere. Oh, things can be so impressionable. But you're right. I think with that outfit, I mean, I would accept it. I would have loved it. It would have been cool to see He-Man with a different design, with a different chest emblem, a cape. And if they would have did the two versions, one with a Dolph head and one with the regular head, could have been double ways of selling. You know, they always like doing some kind of variant. But I would have liked it. And then also makes you think, if this was successful, do you think we would have gotten New Adventures of He-Man then? Would that have even happened if this would have kept going?
I don't think we would have gotten that. I think, we would have gotten these other figures that were coming out. It kind of makes you wonder, like, how many directions would Mattel be branching out to, because they were already pushing the spinoff series and how far that was going to go. Like, maybe these new characters that we saw Errol draw, would they have been using the powers of Grayskull, that Terror, Plasmar, and Lord Grass? Maybe they were concept characters for the powers of Grayskull. Like, even though you see Strobo and the Snake Troopers with them, like the explanation behind the Snake Troopers, Snake Men dressed up as Horde Troopers, are they? That's something like, okay, that's why I kind of feel like there's so much unexplained of the directions that they were looking to go into. Are they going to do pushing a lot of the movie stuff, and then incorporate maybe a new character here, and then you really want to push this new spinoff line with Powers of Grayskull with the dinosaurs and Hero and Eldor. You got to push. I mean, there was so much.
How cool would that have been to have those two lines in both similar styles, but just under different logos, the Powers of Grayskull and still Masters of the Universe? Because when you say Strobo, I mean, remember, we did get him in the Masters of the Universe magazine in a story in a comic, so we've seen him. So for him, I think he would have still stayed in the Masters line and maybe not Powers of Grayskull.
I mean, the way they were tossed around, like, Skeletor shows up with a fleet of T-Rexes, like they were kind of incorporating whatever was coming, just put it in there. Just work it in there. So that's why I kind of feel like Strobo could have been one of He-Man's new heroic warriors. He could have been an ally of Hero. Like it could have, because we're not given any concrete evidence. Like, I don't know if the Power and Honor Foundation have got secret documents they don't want anybody to know about.
Book. Sorry, hang on, had something in my throat there for a second.
Oh, well, I forgot.
I don't think it's the answers in that book, but Joe, it's pretty. Does Joe still have that massive stack that Josh sent him that he's just not bothering to?
Yeah, we got to start doing
using them as paperweights right now.
I forgot. We got to start doing some.
He just shoves them in the toilet to get nostalgic.
Like TV trays, he's got coffee and stains all over all the books. Where he's like,
I'm using them to pop up my table or something.
No.
I got a broken leg on the table.
And starts sticking them in the toilet, and he's like, "Oh, I remember when Julie wanted me
back in school."
I think if the movie had been successful, I don't think people would have enjoyed it at all, but they could have just sort of made a lateral move and made a continuation, an animated series where Julie and Kevin communicate with He-Man to have him come back to Earth to help defend Earth from different things, whether it's Skeletor or like newly created characters, to sort of keep that symmetry. But you could also have it back where, like, all right, yeah, we have the thing here with Skeletor shows up with dinosaurs and things like that. So it could have bounced around in a lot of different ways. But I don't know, like, just the deal that they made with Canon, I think was just always destined. If Canon had stayed afloat, I still don't think anything would have been different. I think we could have got a sequel movie out of it, but at that point, that may have made less money compared to the first movie.
Well, and another thing too is I think about, like, even though they had to pull the movie, they had the rights to Master of the Universe to make a sequel, and we all know, in Captain Akin, he's got, I think, the one script or one of the scripts they were going to shoot, and we all know it was going to be absolute dog shit.
That sounded horrible. Yeah.
If the movie had been successful, though, and of course with most companies, they want to make the sequel cheaper and cut even more.
Do you think that could have leveraged to a Universal or a New Line or someone else to come in and swoop in and be like, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and take that chance because this has proven to be successful. Clearly, Canon wants to make it cheaper. Do you think Mattel could have had some sort of option after that?
That's where I kind of feel like probably based on the agreement they had, because if they were going to try and do it without Mattel, the line had been canceled, and they were still planning to do a sequel where they had sets and costumes, and then they got pulled and became Cyborg. Obviously, Mattel wouldn't have had it because, I mean, of the legal agreement that they had. Like, they had the film rights to do what they want. That's why I kind of feel like, and plus at that time, Canon was working with Warner Brothers. They were distributing a lot of their films, not all of them. But, they released like Cobra. I think they did Over the Top and the Stallone flicks and some other stuff. MGM. So I don't know if Universal could have gotten involved. But then again, too, if the film had been really successful, if Canon made a big budget back and Mattel got their money back,
I think there would have been a different script than the one that we've seen. I don't think they would have went with that.
I think so, but then I kind of makes you wonder, like, I guess we have to rethink, because Mattel did have rights over how the characters were portrayed. So I guess in that regard, if the line had kept going, then Mattel could step in and say, "All right, we're not doing this on Earth. You got to have these characters, and you got to have this, this, and this. Where you're not going to be
not going to have businessman,
and He-Man's not going to be cast as a surfer. You're going to bring Dolph back."
Exactly. And that's what we've been. If it was successful, and you're right.
If you start thinking about it a little bit more thoroughly, it wouldn't have been that, and we may have gotten something that was going to be set on Eternia, probably set with a budget. They may have filmed it in Mexico. Kind of like with Conan the Destroyer, they filmed it in Mexico instead of Spain. I think it was cheaper to film in Mexico.
What a nut punch! Did I tell you that sucked when I remember being at my cousin's and looking through his guide when he had Showtime and Movie Channel, all that shit, and it said Masters of the Universe 2. I was like, what? And it was going to be on like in an hour. I was like, we got to put this on, put it on, and it said Cyborg. I was like, huh?
I remember seeing it in a TV guide and looking at that, like, what the but when it said Van Damme, because it said like who was starring it, I'm like, that was my first like introduction to the whole fiasco and interesting. Probably the most interesting about Cyborg itself.
I don't know why people shit on Cyborg so much. It's not that bad.
No, it's a very slow-paced movie, though. Like and it's a short movie. That's the bad part. It is by no means a horrible film, but it's a slow film. Like it's waiting for some of the action to happen, or
it doesn't really play to Van Damme's strengths, essentially.
It does. It's a cool idea, though. I just feel like. It's. I mean, my favorite scene is the stabbing in the sewer, which I remember when I saw that in the trailer on the Bloodsport VHS. Like, I have to see this film just for the split, where like, oh my god, it looks so cool. Even in the movie, even though when he's walking through, like, how did he not see the guy like right above him? But you just go with it because it looks cool. I'd love to have seen something like that revisited in a Van Damme film. It's a great idea, but I wonder if that's Albert Pune's idea or who came up with that. But that connection alone makes Cyborg that much more fascinating because of. I would love to talk to Albert Pune too of like how. I even sent him an email like a few years back.
Fuck off, kid!
Want to join us to talk about. which I never got anything. Which is he probably pulled a Sheldon Lettich. Look, I'm not talking to some punk kid on his phone and hanging out in his mom's basement about what I did.
But you know what?
I'm
with
better
the
than
pandemic going on, I think this sort of changes the game a little bit in terms of what they can do. So maybe that should be something that we can attempt to do in the future, because we've kind of been about, when it comes to guests, we've been sort of I don't know, but Errol McCarthy, like, let's try to maybe get some of these guys on here to talk about it. One thing that out of all the stuff that you guys sent me, it's sitting here right now on the screen because I have it filtering on a timer now, but that one with He-Man and Ninjor right there, that's my favorite piece out of all of this.
Yeah,
bar none. But
when I saw that too, it was just by accident, because I like to do Google searches for He-Man images, artwork, and just look to see what because a lot of times I come across something, I'm like, Joe, put this on a tank top. It's like, yeah, sure, when I get around to it, man. And I was just like, I just will stockpile images, or like, oh, I gotta remember that one. And when I came across that, I'm like, oh my god, like that is money. Like I want to see an illustration done, like another one. Like Kevin doing his homage to Errol McCarthy. Like, I just feel like that's such an amazing idea, because it's really the only thing we got to see. He-Man fighting. We see him fight Skeletor in a couple of them, but fighting Ninjor, that's so specific. Not Blade, not Sora, not Car, not Beastman. It's Ninjor. And it's just like, that's why. And I put this in one of our posts, and no one gave a shit. Not even you guys. Like Dolph Lundgren versus Sho Kosugi. Like, they could have put Ninjor in the live-action He-Man movie, because he was doing films with Canon. We're talking about Revenge of the Ninja.
And it would have been, it would have been cheap.
End of the Ninja.
Like, costume-wise, you don't have to really do much.
Yeah. You got to give him some red to a black ninja outfit to have a moment where Dolph is fighting Sho Kosugi, Castle Grayskull. All right, what happened?
What do you mean, what happened?
Okay, it says Joe left the call.
Did not know that. I know your camera, like.
See, now all I see is me on my end. Sorry about this, people, but we have to address this shit live.
Your camera freaked out on me. I don't know what happened to Joe.
Okay, well, is Joe even here?
No, it says 2 of 3.
Okay, so he's with us in spirit.
Stand by, everybody. Yeah, go ahead and continue with your thought. I'll try to get.
But yeah, for people who don't know what I'm talking about, look up Sho Kosugi, the Canon films with Revenge of the Ninja. I just thought, like, since he was doing a lot of Canon films at that time and a lot of ninja films, that would have been a cheap, like, hey, this is a current toy that's on the toy shelves right now in our live action film, and that'd have been awesome to see him standing alongside Blade, Sword, Korg, and Beastman, or like he's at Skeletor's side all the time as like his own personal bodyguard in the film. Like, you don't see him fight till the very end or something like that. It would have been cheap, And the guy knows martial arts, can work with swords and do all kinds of crazy stunt work, and that'd have been awesome to see Dolph like duking it out with him in the throne room. Oh man. And nobody bothered to even acknowledge that. Bunch of assholes.
Well,
not even Dushin chimed in with some smart ass remark. Well, according to when I was creating He-Man, I had booked it in my original script and concept for the film, but I didn't even get that from him. So I got nothing but crickets. So shame on all you people who respond or acknowledge stuff that we put in there, and nobody. Crickets. I hate all of you.
Holy shit. It's getting strong without Joe in here to hold down the fort. I tried to add him back to the call, and it said that he's unavailable. I sent him a message, so I don't know what happened. If Joe's...
Just tell him, hey, we're going to have to end the podcast, because you're not coming back here, so we can't do it without you, so we're going to call it a night, dude.
But that's why the people are here. Joe Amato brings all the fans to the yard.
Yeah, they're not here for us. They're here for the masked man.
Yeah.
They're here for the Red Scorpion.
Right. So I will continue on working on getting him here, hopefully. I hate when this happens, because it really does fuck up the flow of the show. But
at least I guess it's times like this where we're glad we don't have like a massive audience where people would expect a little bit more budget in what we do, and things like this don't happen.
Yeah. I'm waiting to hear back from Joe. I'm getting like notifications of people like commenting on stuff on Facebook, and you're.
Well, I guess just
hey, let's go ahead and talk about that. We can sort of bridge this a little bit while we wait for Joe to come back in. But you talked with Warwick Davis today. And if you guys are not familiar with Warwick Davis, he played an Ewok in Star Wars. He was in Willow. He's done all kinds of different stuff since then.
He was the Leprechaun.
Oh, yeah, which you should have asked him a question about that. But go ahead and...
Oh hell! I paid for 2 sessions, and I thought I was gonna have enough time to I felt like I was a nervous wreck. I haven't watched it yet because I felt too like
you cannot.
I probably got all.
You can't tell that at all in that video. You seem perfectly calm and collected. I didn't know you were like completely freaking out on the inside.
Yeah, halfway through I started getting like antsy and nervous, and I felt my face was getting red. So I'm like, oh my god, like I'm getting all flushed, and Warwick can see this, but hey, if Nathan, the greatest ball buster I've ever known, is not saying that and seeing,
I couldn't notice it.
Then
so if I didn't see it, other people couldn't. There's no way other people could be like, he looks nervous. You look very pensive. Oh wait, Joe's back.
He came out. He crawled out of the dumpster. He's not pulling a Danny DeVito. He's just
I can't hear you, Joe.
He's going angry Italian here.
Joe has left the call.
He's probably cussing in Italian.
For those of you that listen to the audio version, Joe is speaking with his hands. He looks very angry right now. We can't tell.
This is the most fitting time for him to speak with his hands.
Well, we will give you the play-by. Oh,
anything?
There we go.
There you are.
God damn it! Last fucking thing I heard was Tyler say Sho Kosugi. And then he went like this, and that's all I seen. I was like, God damn it! And it wasn't letting me do nothing. That's it. I don't even know what's going on. Oh, am I pissed?
It's fine.
Bitch.
Well, hang on. We were talking about, and now Tyler's back. Tyler was like freezing again. Tyler was talking about how he met Warwick Davis today and how nervous he was. So we'll let Tyler continue on with that, and then Joe, we can bring it back in.
I mean, it's Nathan put it on a YouTube channel, but yeah, I was pretty nervous and trying to come up with something, interesting. And of course, this is the third time talking to a big celebrity to me, and it never goes how you anticipate because the nerves are going. Well, how they speak to you changes your whole perspective on what you're going to say, what you're going to do, and everything. But it was surreal. My head was literally hurting from the excitement. Like when I was done, like I was like, I got to take an aspirin, man, because I was just like. It was overwhelming. Like I've always wanted to meet Warwick Davis at one of these conventions. Like
Are you going broke too from all these damn things you're doing, man? That's got to be expensive. Well, it's like son of a bitch. I know this ain't cheap.
Paid for Dolph. Like that was her treat. I was gonna get one of them. She got me both. Mark Singer, I just paid for the. I have to, that's why I feel like I can't buy everything because when some of these are happening, I'm like, I'll dip into savings or I haven't bought a bunch of stuff and I'll use that.
Hey Tyler, I was gonna say you might lose a little weight, but did you want to go on the Joe Amato diet? I can show you how to save money and eat noodles.
Dude,
ramen noodles.
No, Tyler cannot. There's no way that he could. So, if he ate ramen noodle, I don't even know what would happen. The sodium intake alone from ramen noodles would be. I think Tyler would just evaporate. I don't know what would happen.
Yeah,
to him.
I try to avoid like heavy amounts of sodium altogether. Like eating like a sub or a pizza for fun. Like I pay the price for it that night because I swell up looking like Pearl from Blade. I'm like oh god,
Take the sodium packet, throw it off the side like I do, and just put hot sauce in there. Bam, you'll be good as gold.
Tyler doesn't like hot
eating
stuff.
Hot sauce, that's like swallowing stun grenades.
Oh, shit. Well, let me tell you something that pissed me off. Speaking of food
I eat
today.
on a cheap budget anyway. If you saw what I just have to buy like
Tyler-
6 packs of ground turkey burger.
Tyler, turkey burgers and nothing else. If he eats anything else, it's like just
He ain't kidding.
destroying the toilet over and over again.
And I have to wait till I'm like, after I leave Erica's, and I'll just tear my car seat apart, like leave skid marks in the seat because I'm not doing it around anybody.
Tyler used to tell me about that all the time when he would go on other dates years ago. He was like, "Oh God, there were so many times during that I just wanted to sit there and rip ass." And then he'd be like, when I finally got done, I would just go back to my car and I would just grip the seat like a bear, and I would just
and the car would just steam up with all the hot air coming out of my ass. Because that's what happens when you go to a restaurant and eat food you don't normally eat. You just swell up. You're like, oh God.
I eat garbage all the time, so I'm not. Yeah, I don't know the
Joe and
his
Joe's stomach is like a mutation.
It is. Hey, can I say it?
Yeah, Joe, you know, if you just if you let scientists just poke and prod at you, you'd make some more money that way.
Okay, whatever it is to get the job done and get some extra money for food, that's worked for me. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about some food today. Real quick, here's my food story, and it really pissed me off. And it's not that I'm that person that likes to raise a fuss, but when I know I'm right, I spend the money.
I heard your story about cheese at Kroger. You are that person. You are the cat lady with the book of coupons.
Well, the thing, for me, it's because I sometimes don't have that money, so it's like, you better give me this fucking price. And now, so I seen a commercial. They've been advertising something at Wendy's called the Biggie Bag. You get a double stack burger with all this bacon, you get 4 nuggets, you get a French fry, and you get a drink, which I have to get lemonade because I don't drink pop.
What?
And all that
wait,
was only...
No, wait, no.
Yeah,
wait, what? Yo, wait. Hang on. No, you're breaking my brain a little bit. You will eat garbage. But you're like, soda's where we draw the line? Why don't you drink soda?
Drink girlish figure.
I have not drank pop in 24 years.
Whoa.
I just don't drink pop.
Why?
Yeah, 24 years. I didn't drink pop. Well, there was a summer where I was super thirsty. I mean, I was outside doing lots of shit. I came in the house and I grabbed a can of Pepsi and I drank it.
Joe,
like, oh my God, that's not enough.
Joe, when you're hot and dehydrated, you don't drink soda.
Well, I'm a fucking moron, so just listen. I was thirsty, so I grabbed 1 pop, another. I drank 4 Pepsis in a row,
God.
And then I violently was puking like crazy, and right when that happened, I was like, I don't even want to drink pop no more. And I never drank pop since. So, that's weird. I just had a violent puke fest because I barely...
Yeah, because you're dehydrated and you're not supposed to drink soda. It's no different than my cousin John, who came home from school and ate like 4 hot dogs in a row and then showed up to basketball practice and ran back and forth and then threw up on the court, and I was laughing my ass off.
But you're talking to somebody who loved pop and drank a little water, but that led me to always drinking water, so that's all I drink now.
Good on you, because soda's not good for you, but still, Joe, like, holy shit.
Yeah, so now let me tell you my story. So you got all that stuff, and it was only $5. So I had $5 because I was going to do it for Popeyes. Popeyes wasn't having their deal for some fucking reason. So I was like, well, I want to do this thing at Wendy's.
You'd think they would have grandfathered you in.
They should have, goddammit. So I went inside Wendy's.
They'll just give it to you to go away.
Yeah, but I did. So I went in there, ordered the thing, and they said, that'll be $5.36. I was like, what? And they said, it'll be $5.36. I was like,
food tax, no. Joe. Come on. Are you Are you serious?
No, Nathan, Nathan, hold on. Listen. I said, it should be $5. I was like, I'm not eating inside. If you eat inside, they have a dining tax. No, listen, Nathan. If you eat inside, they have a dining tax of 36 cents. If you get it to go, they don't charge you tax. So I told. No, listen.
Sorry,
so I said,
I'm listening.
I said, this is to go. There shouldn't be a tax. And the guy kept saying, no, there's a tax. I was like, I'm not eating inside. He's like, there's a tax. I was like, Christ. I said, oh my God, is this $5? I said, I don't have cents. So I'm going through my pocket. I found about 15 cents. Then I had to go to my car.
Wait, so you weren't eating out or eating in. You were eating out, but you went in to eat out.
To go, because the drive-thru was lined around the building. I was like, I'm not sitting there. So I went inside, placed the order. When you place a to-go order, they never charge tax.
No.
So after I went back to my car and found a quarter, I came back and said, here's your 36 cents. And then he gave me the receipt. And I said, you see the receipt? What does that say? He was like, dine in 36 cents tax. I was like, I'm not dining in. I'm taking it to go. I told you. Like, then he said, oops, sorry, and gave me my 36 cents back. I was like, fuck, I went through all this for nothing. I told you.
I was waiting for Joe to start walking the drive-thru line asking for change of all the cars lined up.
Well, I didn't have it with me.
Like a Dixie cup.
When you have the money, that can really mess with you. I had the 36 cents, so I'm fighting for it. And like I said, long story short, it shouldn't have been charged. He's seen it on the receipt.
That whole scene makes me think of Adventures of Babysitting where she's trying to buy the hot dog. It's like, you slip me the money and I'll slip you the winner. But I don't have any money. But I don't have a winner.
Man.
Yep.
Oh, God.
So I won in the end. How about that, though, Nathan? In the end, he looked at the receipt. Oh, I guess you're right. And said, here's your 36 cents back. And I was like, oh, my God. I went through all this fucking shit. If you listened to me, and he didn't listen.
Life of hardship.
The fact... I'm sorry I laughed through that entire thing.
But did you hear what I was saying, though? I hope you heard what I was saying during the laugh.
Justice was served.
Joe, I heard it. But just the fact that going into this situation that there is a dine-in tax, and you've already figured out approximately the tax that would be on there, and the fact that immediately when you get the total that they charged you the dine-in tax. Oh.
Well, immediately, because when you get orders to go or when you go through the drive-thru, if it's $5, it's $5. So that's what I mean. I had my $5 bill ready, and he said $5.36, and I knew it didn't make sense because I was like, no, this is to go. It's not for dining in. He was like, but it's a tax. I was like, no, that's a dine-in tax. I'm taking it to go. And then he prints out the receipt, and it said dine-in tax, 36 cents. I was like, did you see? I'm not dining in, and then I got my money.
He's stupid. But I think what got me tickled about it was just the fact that you knew all of that, because here where we are, we get taxed for everything. There's a food tax, there's an alcohol tax, there's like all kinds of shit that gets taxed. So
processing
there's all kinds of things. So
around here there's none for takeout orders. That's why we immediately know around here. It's like, what the fuck you doing?
That's why I got tickled, because I was just like, all of this for 36 cents. But good on you for winning that battle, Joe. I'm sorry I laughed a lot, but Joe, you tell the best stories. You really do.
I had to struggle to find that fucking 36 cents change because he wasn't going to give it to me. Then I got it back. Dumb fuckers. But what time we at anyways? Because I had to shut off my computer because since it kicked me off, I was like,
Joe's going to leave me to take all the questions from the chat this week, I suppose.
Yeah, you go to the chat, but that's like I said, we wanted to say what could have been, what maybe would have happened, and that was a good fucking discussion. But now we will pass it to the chat if you guys questions for any. I was
going to say, before we bounce to that, we had talked about Kevin doing a reimagining, so we can go ahead and plug this. Link is down below. Go to Joe's TeePublic store. He has some shirts on there I think you guys might be interested in. So go ahead, click that link, and buy some of those t-shirts. I'm sure, because TeePublic also runs sales constantly, so you guys can get them cheaper if you're patient enough. But check that out. Support Joe. Buy some of those shirts. Have some cool Masters merchandise, which I've already decided. This is the shirt from FYE, but when I get those other shirts that I bought from Joe, they're supposed to be here Wednesday. I will probably be wearing those the next 3 episodes. So that is my plan. I'm just going to wear Joe's t-shirts on the show henceforth, going forward. But I will switch back to this. I'm going to mute my mic and go into studio mode and get all that popped up. But I will have Kevin's reimagining, and then Joe went ahead and colored it and did some alterations. And that shirt is available now on his TeePublic page. So go there. I think you titled it, Another Rainy Day? So click on that one and buy that shirt.
Another Rainy Day. Yeah, because to give context, Kevin was part of a live stream drawcast, I think maybe 4 days ago, and he did an homage to Errol McCarthy's Triclops versus He-Man. I mean, it was just fucking awesome to sit here, watch him doing that live with other people doing their art. And after it was over, I was like, hey, man, could you send me a picture of that? I'd love to do something with that art. And he's like, yeah, no problem. And he sent me the picture, and I looked at it, and I was coloring it all up, and I was like, man, that looks pretty cool. That might look cool on a shirt. And then something just popped in my head. I was like, holy fuck, this could be an homage to an homage. because Errol McCarthy's, how you know that art on those pajamas and shirts was always in that circle and with the versus thing. I was like, oh man, I could insert it into that, do this dynamic background, do all this shit and color up. So I did it, got it all done. I showed Tyler first before I showed Kevin the completed piece. And then when Kevin's seen it, he's like, yeah, that is awesome. It was so cool to make, but I like Tyler's reaction because he got a real good kick out of that. That was fun to do.
Oh, it was beautiful. Like I had no idea Joe was doing it and was going to go as far as he did with it. So that was a real treat to know that that's what he was putting. And I'm so jazzed that Joe has been like running like a hamster on a wheel, putting out all these various like Errol McCarthy mock-ups and stuff like that too. It's just because that's what we had when we were kids, and it's unfortunate that nobody with a brain is putting out throwback attire with Master of the Universe on it. Everything is just this shitty filmation, junk that they keep tossing out there. Like, and maybe it's good for people who have a bare minimum memory of He-Man, and that's about as far as it goes. But to have clothing that had this beautiful artwork that had an action scene on it, and you wore it proudly, like that's how I feel with this stuff. Like even though it's pretty much in house or in the summer at the lake or something like that, but I'm like, it's a badge of honor to me to wear this stuff because I love that clothing so much as a kid, and I'm thankful that Errol did so many pieces that would look great, and that Joe is willing to put in the time to recreate it for us, and to not take advantage of it is just dumber in the head than a hog is in the ass, people. So take advantage of it
please,
now.
Like go buy his shirts.
Yeah, because I do, just to let you know, I take them down because I don't want in any ways people thinking, oh, Joe's trying to get rich off somebody else's art. It's like, no. I'm actually, all those ones I'm doing, I am redrawing, I'm changing, I'm doing other stuff, but I do get rid of them just because I don't want somebody thinking I'm trying to capitalize off this or capitalize off that. And there, by no means am I getting rich. I get $2 for a shirt that sells, and if I sell 3 of them or 4 of them, like, oh, $8. Well, at least I can give me another fucking round of Biggie's Wendy's shit and another argument, or a couple of these goddamn ramen things.
One of the high-end items, like a hoodie or something like that.
Yeah, then it could be a couple more, but otherwise, yeah.
It does kind of bum me out. It bums me out that that's all that you get per shirt. Like,
but I'm fine with it. Like I said, and plus,
have you seen? I will say, like, I'm glad because I see some of the dumbest stuff I've ever seen in my life on TeePublic and Redbubble. Like, someone drew Lionel holding up the Sword of Omens, and instead of the cat symbol comes out, it's a guy with a hung dick.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, okay, are you making fun of gay people and saying that Thundercats is gay, or you think it's funny to have Lionel has the Sword of Omens, spotlights a giant dick? Like, just looking for Thundercats to put on a tank top or T-shirt.
How does that not automatically get flagged for, like...
I don't know, and there's a bunch of stuff on there revolving around Thundercats and He-Man, all implying, they're all, rolling around with each other naked and shit like that. It's just,
people just Google an image, and they take the image and they throw it up on TeePublic. How are you doing that? I seen somebody take a picture of a vintage He-Man figure. It was He-Man, mint on card, a vintage figure.
Yeah.
And they put it up on a website. It was like, it's the first image. If you typed in mint on card, vintage He-Man, and comes up, they took that, they put it on TeePublic and was selling. I was like, I don't even understand that. But yeah, when I do these shirts, it's basically for just people that are listening to the show, and definitely Tyler and me and Nathan, just to get something cool, and then I get rid of it. It's just a way of having something that you're not going to go to the store and ever buy, so I do it. And again, yeah, I'm not getting mega rich, and I think that's why they don't give a fuck. They're like, they know that Joe isn't getting rich for just redrawing something or doing my spin.
Joe was getting paid more, but when I see all these jerk-offs making all this really, they should be embarrassed, and not just with putting a bunch of dicks and stuff like that. Like, just very lame, unoriginal ideas for not just He-Man and Thundercats, but for Turtles, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Predator, Conan, any Ghostbusters, like just some of the lamest shit anybody could ever think of, and just slapping it on there and hoping somebody's like, that says me. That's the Ghostbuster shirt I gotta have. That says me. Like I must have that on a coffee mug. I'm glad those jerk-offs are not getting paid much. I hate it for Joe because Joe is putting in actual effort and being original and creative with this stuff. Where these morons are just, I really wish I could just run down, line them all, and just slap the hell out of all of them because it insults them to these properties. But I'm glad Joe is doing this, and I keep sending him ideas and thoughts. I hope he doesn't get tired of it, because I got a whole slew. I mean, when Nathan's emphasizing He-Man movie He-Man versus Ninjor, we definitely need to put that in a nice circle with the scroll at the bottom of there. I mean, it's even putting more of Kevin's artwork, like the Modulok he did for me, or other, like he's got He-Man, Thunder Punch He-Man, and all kinds of other beautiful single image images that he's done.
It would be cool to put in that and to let people know why it does take me a while. Like I said, first I do it in between sculpting and painting, then I'll start doing the stuff on my my laptop. But it takes a while because I'm taking my finger and I'm right clicking and I'm drawing like this on my little touch part of the laptop. So you can picture how hard this is. I know that there's people that have those light things that they can draw on like this, or even have a mouse. I'm using my finger, so it takes fucking forever to do it. It sounds nuts, but it has a good result in the end, and that's why I just like how it turns out after all that meticulous.
I have what you did here with Kevin's art. I've had this on the screen for quite a while. Joe, is your laptop back up yet, or did you decide like...
I'll open it. I was scared because when I did this last time, right when I did this open, it seemed like it said poor internet connection. So hopefully it won't do it, because I've been fine ever since this has been closed. But I'll try to bring it up and see what happens, and you tell me what anybody said in the chat, and if they had any questions too.
So I can't stress this enough. Go click on the link down below in the description. Buy this shirt. Buy some of the other shirts Joe has there. Let's make him a top seller on TeePublic, and Joe's gonna be tossing up other stuff, ideas, especially that Tyler tosses out to him. So just check that link every now and again. You might see some surprises there, stuff that will be up and then be gone. So find it, buy it.
Yeah, and we will remind, and I like what we're doing right now. What Nathan's telling you, like, and Joe just put up the Kevin Sharp artwork today, so it's available now. And it
was with his blessing, by the way, to let you guys know. It was his blessing. I said, hey, man, it's okay if I just throw up there, me, Tyler, you, Nathan, just get a shirt. He's like, oh, yeah, go ahead. Because, again, he knows I'm not getting rich off his art. I just want to share his art. Because, again,
I've seen people use his artwork on Redbubble. Someone took his trap jaw and put it up there. And I'm thinking, like, and I don't think it was Kevin. Somebody else had put up some of his artwork on Redbubble and was selling it.
Yeah, so see, Kevin could go in there immediately and be like, nope, that's mine. Fuck you.
Yeah, and just to let you guys know, see, that's the thing. I'm not what you call a real artist. I can't draw out of my head. I can only look at existing images and redraw them or draw characters in that pose. But to be somebody like Kevin, Axel, Grimbot, all those fuckers that can sit there out of their head and draw something amazing, I can't do that kind of stuff. I can only look at something.
Grimbot's the man. Like, we ask him week to week based off of when we do our episodes, like, hey, you remember this? Can you recreate this scenario? Like, especially this week. Grim, I give you the challenge. Let's have Joe arguing with the guy at the Wendy's drive-thru about that 36 cents.
36 cents? No, it wasn't drive-thru. I went inside that fucker. I was inside that goddamn restaurant.
Joe is ready. I actually went to Wendy's today and got a Son of Baconator and some spicy nuggets, and I think and Emily got a junior cheeseburger and some nuggets. She usually gets half of the side salads that they have, but they got rid of the half size and only have the whole size salads now. She's like, that's too much.
I kept the receipt. I'm going to show you guys the receipt later. I'll put it up on Facebook and show you these fuckers with dining in.
He'll get tons of comments and remarks, and my Shokasugi remark is still gone unnoticed.
Just make sure that...
We clearly know who the fan favorite is on this podcast.
Just put that receipt beside of, I don't know, pick a random...
He-Man figure just looking upset like he wants to fucking rip the receipt in half or something.
I mean, I will say again, good on you. But it's hilarious to me that you guys... Well, it's not hilarious. It's actually awesome that you guys don't get taxed for that, because holy shit. Like,
yeah, not supposed to. I got my 36 cents back, goddammit.
I think sales tax, and I think taxes in general is horse shit anyway. But that's a topic for another discussion. Joe, if your laptop's still up, I know he tossed out, if you guys want to go ahead and ask some questions, go ahead and do that. Joe, you've already got a couple things. Hey, check your messenger. There's some questions for you there, or some stuff for you there too. So yeah, you guys put those questions out there in the chat room, and we'll read that.
And of course, I'm doing this, and now my feet's starting to seem like it's going to shit. Hopefully not. Let me see if I can get a question before
here's one from Sportimus. Did anyone buy any of James Etox's animation cells? He said that he won one.
He's got more?
Yeah, he did put some more.
I think it's the same. Well, there was some other stuff that he put up. I was watching some stuff, but I didn't have. I'm trying to not spend some. I was watching some of the script copies and style guides or style images and some of the cells, but I didn't get around to getting any of them though.
Papa Hut.
Yeah, I didn't even know we had another one up. But,
Papa Hood 69 says, "How awesome would it be if Fans of Power were sponsored by Popeyes?" I don't think they would want to sponsor us, actually. I mean, it would be cool. If anyone reached out to us and wanted to sponsor us, I am 1,000% behind it. I don't care what it is.
I would use my open mask one that I did for those challenges. I would gladly cut that fucking off again, make another mask where you could see me eating that chicken every fucking week. Oh my God. I'd be in heaven. Oh, I'd be in heaven. Could you imagine a sponsor and I get free chicken every week? God damn. I can only dream.
Grim 2 has a question.
I just think it'd be cool to have a sponsor in general, like someone who's paying us $15 a week to read an ad for their online toy business or something like that. Like, I just think it'd be cool.
Or Dollar Tree, you get a lot of good shit at Dollar Tree.
Everything's a dollar.
Joe has no ambition here.
It's got to be the cheap shit.
Doesn't take much.
Joe's just going for stuff in his backyard.
Not much to make me happy at all, goddammit. But go ahead,
Grim
Nathan.
2, question for Nathan. Ain't Joe an awesome antidepressant? Yes, he is. The stories that he tells gives me great laughs, and if people are wondering, like, why is he asking him about antidepressant? We'll open it up a little bit. Yeah, like I get bummed out quite often, actually. I think it happens to a lot of people, and it's important to, I guess, talk about it, and I sometimes don't let that go out in appropriate ways, but yeah, you get bogged down by life, and Joe seems pretty happy right now. I think we know where that's going. But yes, Joe is a fantastic doing this show is just a great way to feel better about all the bad shit going on in life or whatever you get bogged down by.
Well, there's a question that, I'm always going to get you in a good mood. I'm good at getting people in a good mood. So I'm going to ask 2 questions before I let you get to a question that's around here, Nathan. But first, Johnny Cock does have a question for Tyler. It said, what is the Tyler Fitness diet?
Turkey burgers. That's it.
And chicken. Lots of chicken, right? Baked chicken?
No chicken. I make over 60 turkey burgers a week. I eat 5 small meals a day with a bottle of water and perfect protein bars and oatmeal and egg whites in the morning. And I do that, and I'll have like a pancake in a cup, protein pancake in a cup on the weekends is like a fun treat. But that's it. Like I've always been someone who can eat the same thing every day. I did it in school, like peanut butter sandwich and a ham and cheese sandwich for every day. Not everybody can do that.
Me and Tyler are so goddamn on the same level when it comes to Master of the Universe, but we couldn't be more opposite when it comes to food. Could you imagine watching us two eat anywhere? And Tyler's eating the turkey.
I don't think like if you guys were to set aside, you couldn't pick anywhere to eat. Maybe right. Pizza. I think. Tyler will eat pizza because Tyler and I pre-pandemic would go and eat pizza together. But that would be about the extent of it. I think Joe and I are more on a wavelength when it comes to food.
Yeah,
we I had a chicken Philly with Erica like last weekend from Avelina's. That was really good. I had like grilled chicken with bacon on it. That was really good. I'll eat outside the box, but I never It's got to be like someone like Nathan says, "Hey, let's go to Waffle House." Or something like that, because I like Waffle House years, but it's the best waffles I've ever had in my life. I would eat there, but then I probably wouldn't eat there again for many, many years after. I just don't I don't crave a lot of stuff. It's really got to be a special occasion or a treat. Because even when I'm working at the dining halls, I'm around Chick-fil-A and all kinds of other like wonderful smelling Dunkin' Donuts. I don't crave it. I'm around all the time, and I just don't have a desire for it. So
he said he could eat outside the box. He doesn't. I'm always eating inside the box.
Plus it doesn't make me feel too good when I do go outside the box. If it's not too crazy, like when my family was in last weekend, and my mom got us all Sal's, and I had some lasagna and 2 small garlic knots, and I had 1 plate, and that's all I cared to have after that. And it kind of gave me a little bit of, acid indigestion.
And then you had to go take a big nasty shit afterwards.
The next day I had to. It's just.
And, speaking of your fitness,
I have my stomach conditioned a certain way that's just what I eat, and I don't have a lot of cravings for. I'll eat a protein cookie if I want something sweet, which those are really good. Lynn and Larry's protein cookies. You can get them at Walmart. Those are fun to have, or I'll just eat a fun protein bar for a snack.
But that is good, hell. It's probably a good thing you don't eat all this crazy shit. I always say everything happens for a reason. Just like me not drinking pop, maybe that was meant to happen. Maybe it's meant for you to eat how you eat, and maybe me with just eating like a dumpster and having all this hot sauce. You never know. There could be reasons.
It's what makes Joe happy. It's what makes me happy. It's what makes Nathan happy. But that's just what I do too. I want to stay in shape as long as I can, and I have no problem eating the same thing because when I'm ready to eat, I'm hungry. So I can eat the same thing over and over again because I'm hungry and I want it, and it works within. It's cheap. I buy it in bulk at Walmart. I eat cheap, but I buy a lot of it.
I think the thing that I can eat and really not get tired of, but I decide just to switch it up, and I know some people are going to be like, ugh. I really like to eat peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
Those are good. But peanut butter gives me a lot of acid problems too, so I have to steer clear of it.
So that's what I do.
Did you fry it though? Because I like frying them up when I do.
I've never had a fried peanut butter and banana. That actually sounds pretty good. Not gonna lie.
It's delicious. Yeah, get a lot of butter in that pan and then put it in there to sizzle.
No, I don't want butter all over a peanut butter and banana.
Oh, I love butter.
It's just toasted.
I think that would be okay, but
I'm picturing Joe
get
like this big handful of Crisco and slapping it in the skillet.
Well,
it's got to be Crisco butter oil, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's.
I know, but I just picture like my cousin Vinny when the chef's making grits with Vinny. Yep. Yeah, the lard. I picture that's what Joe's doing.
But that's usually what I eat at work. It's either that or I'll do like turkey and cheese. But it's turkey and cheese or peanut butter and banana. And then I've gotten really into Cliff Bars lately. I like the white chocolate macadamia nuts.
I used to eat those a lot.
Yeah, so that's what I eat.
See, so Nathan eats healthy too. Yeah. And if you guys want another healthy challenge, you got to try this Bring Sally Up, Bring Sally Down, the push-up challenge. It's supposed to be just over 3 minutes. I tried it 2 days ago. I can only make it through 1:40, and I was done. So you guys let me know if you can do better in 1:40. It's like, Joe's out of shape. That's all I can do on this challenge. You'll see why, though. It's real push-ups, not like fake shit push-ups. But you got to do these push-ups.
A lot of people can't do one good push-up. So yes, it's a challenge. Man, like to do proper form to make sure your chest is being worked.
People have.
It is tough too. Because you have to go up when they say up and down when she says down, and there's parts where you're holding. So it's like you're holding your weight because you can't let your chest go down to touch, obviously. You got to hold in that perfect position and not to where your arms are to your sides. You got to keep in that good 45 almost degree angle with your elbows out. But, yeah, if they can do that, that was tough as shit. I can only make it through 1:40, but I'm determined to make it through that whole goddamn song. And here's a question from Sportimus, which, well, I mean, Tyler doesn't collect the line, but you don't know. If it looks good, he might. He said, if Masters of the Universe Origins made 87 movie figures of He-Man and Skeletor, would you buy them?
I think it depends. It depends on how they look. If they looked good, I think that's sort of the difference between Origins. Like, Origins right now is just, here's the vintage figure, but it's missing this or missing that. If they did,
it's cheap classics. It's Dollar Tree classics.
But if
Mattel was putting more effort into, like, I think of how goofy looking the Battle Armor He-Man looks, where he looks like imploded, and you look at the vintage, which is all like proportioned correctly. It just shows you they're cutting corners everywhere, every which way they can. So, I mean, I would assume just have Joe make customs for me of vintage looking He-Man figures, then rely on Mattel, because they are going to make sure it looks as cheap as possible to save money because, well, I don't think they're really doing gangbusters right now business wise. So
what's funny though, these figures, they, besides the over where they keep getting more He-Man Skeletors because that's part of their plan, all the other figures are just fucking gone all the time. I mean, just always gone. So it's like, Jesus, they are selling good and the wrestlers are, but I would buy them. And I was gonna say, Nathan, if you want, do you want to do the next question?
What is the next question that you're referring to, Joe?
Whatever you want to do, because I just asked Sportimus this question.
From Fedmon, have you tried to get a sponsor for the show? Use the Cult of Amato. No, we haven't tried to get a sponsor for the show.
We can't get the Cult of Amato to actually listen to the podcast, which is kind of weird. They're so devoted, but they won't listen to anything that their devoted leader is actually on live and talking and interacting. I don't get it. I guess they just.
Yeah, it would be It would be great, but I will get a question from Gavin, the nerd. Said, would you like to see other companies cover Masters like Hasbro, McFarlane Toys, Mafex, etc.?
Yes, absolutely. If Mafex did it, yeah. If Storm Collectibles came along, it was like, we're going to do some Masters figures.
Storm Collectibles
Absolutely.
would be cool. That could be pretty cool. They'd be pricey, but that'd be cool as shit. What's Mafex? I'll be honest, I've never heard of them. What do they do?
Oh, it's a Japanese company.
It's
I think it's Japanese.
Okay.
I would say it's similar in terms of articulation as Storm Collectibles. It's a little bit smaller in scale, but they also depending on the figure too. Some of them even come with stands to where you can display them certain ways, like if they're flying, or in case of like Spider-Man and stuff like that, where it's like they're using their webbing kind of thing. Some of them did that. But they cover all kinds of different properties. So yeah, if they wanted to pick that up,
it would be nice if Mattel would like, hey, look, if you're not going to put your best efforts forward, then at least license it out for others to do it, and you guys can do your cheap stuff. You know, that's why I was so mad. Even though Super 7 likes to wait decades before they release stuff and then ask it for more pre-orders, at least they had the Horsemen putting out quality figures. You know.
Yeah. So, I honestly, that might be a discussion for another day, but if Mattel were to somehow decide to give up the license and let someone else completely take it over, I would be okay with that. I really would. It's like, give someone else a chance to produce something.
Well, even not like relinquishing it like they did with like Ghostbusters to Hasbro or something like that. Like they still own it, but they're like, all right, we're not going to do it anymore. We'll let this other company handle it, like they did with Super 7. You know,
hell, even NECA. Remember when NECA was doing the stactions? Yeah, they were fucking incredible.
Something like people who are willing to put in, like I don't mind paying a lot of money for He-Man stuff as long as it's quality. Like I'm not going to pay a lot of money for cheap garbage. Like I'm picky. I have every right to be picky, and I'm going to hold myself to the standards. And I'm not budging from it. So. If the quality's there, yeah, you got my money. I even pre-orders in advance, I will pay it as long as I know I'm going to get something quality. But I'm not paying for anything less than like I'm spoiled by the Horsemen, what they did for He-Man, so I won't settle for anything less. I'm not going to.
It's understandable. I mean, it is. Like I said, I'd probably get anything, especially if I could afford anything. But I do get the Origins, and I would buy movie versions. And Zentron wanted to say first, he said, nice shirt. He said, who's on this? But there's something wrong with this. Now, they have everybody on there. But even, like I said, Tyler has just started watching Dungeons and Dragons. I think he immediately seen what the fucking issue is. If Venger is writing Tiamat, the fuck is Venger doing on Tiamat? Yeah, it's nightmare.
I guess it's just a way to work in the whole cast of characters of the Ascension.
Yeah, because I thought there'd be a different pose. And absent on the shirt is Sheila. But I always tell everybody, like, maybe she went invisible. So she's there, but she's not there. But I was like, how the fuck did you miss Sheila and you didn't put her on the shirt?
Well, as long as Diana's there, that's cool with me.
Oh, no, it's great. Oh, yeah, you ain't shitting. But, yeah, it is a great shirt, and when I seen it, I got excited because I was like, I never see Dungeons & Dragons shirts. This is fucking awesome, and it was at GameStop out of all places. So that's where I got this shirt probably, 2-3 years ago. Might even be longer than 3 years. I don't know, but thank you on that. Let's see a question from Johnny Cock. Joe, when toy customizers make pieces, is there a durability level that guys like you strive for? I'm sure you want it to be tough enough to pose a bit, but are customs usually considered fragile? Oh, definitely all customs, I always say, are fragile, because especially if you're sculpting, no matter what you're sculpting with, there are some materials, or excuse me, some materials that are a lot stronger and set super hard. But as you've seen, even for example, with official figures and NECA stactions or anything, something falls, it could break. So I do make it when I make my figures to where they're still posable and you can get the good poses. But I always recommend, yeah, don't give it to your kids and expect to play and slam together, because yeah, something can break. But yeah, I try to make it to where I give posability to as much as possible. But when I'm doing anything super fragile and thin, or anything that's like a thin part, that always freaks me out in shipping. So I have the most bizarre shipping you'd ever see in history, and I think Nathan witnessed that when he got his figure. But I tape shit down. I make sure nothing is compressing to touch. I can't take risks.
That shit
it looks
is a fortress, man. Yeah, like you need to be prepared. Make sure you have a good sharp blade that you can dig that shit out of there, because yeah, he definitely makes sure that he takes the best care of whatever he's sending you. Link down below. Hit him up for a custom if you want that.
I appreciate that. And Sportimus had a question for you, Nathan. Said, have you purchased any more Masters of the Universe Classics figures in the past few weeks? And if so, any favorites?
No.
No,
nope.
all right.
But I mean, I'm at a point with it now where what is left on my list that I want to obtain is just the prices you get on eBay are crazy. So it's tough to justify. Do I want to spend $190 on a sorceress? Not really. That's tough to do. So eventually I'll get them. It's just a matter of time. Maybe I'll stumble across, have some good luck, get some of those guys. But yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the question. I'll give the final one to Jaime Mares. Says, I have a question for you guys. If you were in charge of Mattel, what type of Masters of the Universe merchandise would you produce, and would you license it out to any other company? So he's basically, it's not like really saying the question earlier, like, hey, who else would you like to do? But if we were in charge of Mattel, what would merchandise, what we'd like to do, or would we like to give out to other companies too? But I mean, there's always endless merchandise, but Tyler and I are the biggest vocal people for the art. I would love to see more pajama tops, shirts, t-shirts, tank tops, anything, along with great posters. I think that's what I miss the most, are the posters that
you can afford. Great posters that you can afford.
And that's what I was getting to. Posters that sometimes you would just go into the toy store and it's like, here's a poster. Sometimes you didn't have to buy. Some was like, yeah, buy a figure, get a poster. A lot of times it was just from going into the store that day, here you go. And you get these beautiful posters. Or when I'd love to see magazines like the old day, where they send it to you and you'd get first some cool stories and then pop out a poster. But it was affordable, it was awesome. But yeah, you're right. The key word, affordable, for those posters. Because
that's a knock towards Mad Duck posters, because they have Axel's artwork, and it's insulting the prices. Like, I don't care what their logic is to justify charging $60 for a print of Earl Norm's artwork.
I couldn't afford that stuff. And then subscriptions that were more than the classics figures. Yeah. I was like, that's insane. I can't afford that stuff. It's just too much for me.
No, but the artwork is a big thing. That's why I think it left such a big impression, is how we were drawn to He-Man, from the box art to the posters to the beautiful card art that Errol McCarthy did. And some of the other artists, like, we were all drawn to these small adventures that we saw in print form. That's a big thing, and I feel like Mattel is not, like, they're using Axel right now, but just don't like how his work's colored at all. But I'm glad they're using him, because he's fantastic. Like, so if I was running it, I would hire him and Kevin. I would get probably Andrew Kramer to do coloring, and just putting out a lot of like new stuff by Kevin and Axel, but also like bring back, because like we're fans because we love the old stuff, and doing what Joe's doing. I would make a whole fleet of options of apparel for guys and girls to have the classic looking T-shirts with the scroll at the bottom with one character or a battle scene. And Earl Norm's work, William George's work, Errol McCarthy's work, Rudy Obrera's work, all this stuff we put on all awesome looking stuff that you would want, that you wouldn't mind paying $25 for a T-shirt or something like that because of the
and that's a
licensing
key
or something
thing.
like that.
That really is a key thing that they are missing and lacking. Now, I'm glad that they finally woke up and started giving card back art again and art to the boxes, which good. Kudos to them because Classics was absolute shit with their stuff, and 2000X had zero fucking life on their goddamn card backs. So great for Origins on them doing that, but they are missing, again, the posters, the stuff on T-shirts, the magazines, the coloring books, things that would draw in kids. I mean, when the kids would go by the coloring book section and you see this amazing art, like, what's that? I mean, look at all the shit that R.L. Allen put out. I mean, the amazing covers he put on those coloring books, you just, fuck, I want it. And then the kids would have fun with a fun little story in there, little puzzles. I mean, let them use their imaginations, but start spanning out and give that art back out there, because we always say art is just as much Masters of the Universe as those figures are. They're so important. We got lost in the figures, but we also got lost in that art, and that's what Masters was known for. Bring it back and give it to so many other things, not just the figures, which, again, great you're doing that finally. But let's start getting the other stuff out there, and then let's make Masters, big like it used to be. Will it ever be that big again? I don't know. I would love for it to be. That's why we try to be optimistic. But sometimes you think, shit,
they're not firing on all cylinders. They're not putting a cartoon out with the toy line at the same time. They're not, they're trying to copy everybody else right now. Whereas back then they were doing their own thing and didn't care how successful Star Wars was or how successful G.I. Joe was. It was like, this is our item, this is what we're going with, and that's why we're such a juggernaut. That's why it's, I mean, we don't need to go open up that rabbit hole of dog shit anyway.
Well,
but, I mean, it's
kind of funny how they sort of set the precedent and raised the bar for marketing toys and the property that you're trying to come across with, and now they're taking the back seat and just following everyone else's lead, when I think it is the time to go back to that aggressiveness of, we're going to set ourselves apart and be different from everyone else. So I totally agree with Joe that I think the move here is to appeal to the adult. Like, put that art on the shirts and put the shirts out there. Don't worry so much about the figures, because we got classics. We got the commemorative figures 20 years ago. Most people have the vintage stuff if they want it. Concentrate on the other aspects of what makes this property great, and don't hammer home so much of like, well, it's got to be about the action figures, because we've said time and time and time again, the kids aren't in the aisles anymore, guys. It's the adults that are coming in there, or the scalpers that are coming in there to go into Target and grab Wave 3 and put them up on eBay, even though you guys can go to Big Bad Toy Store and pre-order them right now if you wanted to. That's just the way to go about it. Like, do something different. But also, at the same time, too, don't put yourself in that box of, all right, well, we have to placate ourselves of anything Masters related in the last couple of years has been from those shitty car commercials or whatever else. Like, emphasize that art. Show, like, the beauty of it. Because anybody...
it's a fucking joke.
I mean,
to the general public.
Yeah.
That's what He-Man and Skeletor are right now. They're shadows of the former selves. They see him as nothing but caricatures of being... gay men, like they're dancing around as like lovers and like grocery store commercials and silly shit like that. Like, it's not knocking being gay or anything like that, but you're saying these characters that rip to be tough, and I want to be like that when I grow up. Now you're saying they're just dancing around, acting like really silly, and
you ain't shit. And if fucking angle, I know my light's getting it, but look at that is a puzzle that, when pieced together, just creates a beautiful battle. And if I was to say, if you're doing puzzles, do something with some life like this from R.L. Allen, not just, I'm going to have He-Man standing here and look like he's posing for a high school photo or a prom. Do shit like that, man. God, it's like, this is what saddens me, is all that amazing stuff and fucking effort put into the things, and we get He-Man posing for high school prom shit. That drives me nuts. So hopefully keep that in mind. If they do go back to doing puzzles and amazing coloring book covers and shit like that, do the stuff that really just, bam, it captures your attention.
I mean, that's why you can't rely on these guys anymore. That's why you have to rely on you and other people to come up with, coherent and honestly quality stuff for fans. I mean, Mattel is not interested because they keep pretending that they're ignoring us when really they keep making stuff that's we're the ones buying. It's just, why play this whole damn dance over and over again? Like, you don't know we're the only ones supporting the line.
It doesn't need to be that way. Like, just going down the toy aisle today, you see those same properties that were popular when we were kids. And when I went down those aisles today, you know what was in that aisle? Adults. Kids aren't doing this shit anymore. So, guys, put the stuff out there that appeals to us. Like, all right, yeah, sure, I got this shirt at FYE, but look, like, it's more than just He-Man and Skeletor. We have different characters that are represented on this shirt. It's something that you see, and you're like, holy shit. There's more to it than just this. So, do more stuff. You guys have a plethora.
Send them back to school. Send them back to school
too.
in style.
That too.
Look at that shit.
You could even recreate those lunchboxes and re-release those lunchboxes. People will buy those. Could. Like, you have so much good art. Like, work with that, run with that, do things with it, and it's. Here's a vintage figure that has articulation and is missing 3 other things that people are going to do a podcast and bitch about. But it seems lazy, guys. I don't know. Do more with it.
There you go. Well, I think that was a good episode. That was a good last question. We appreciate that. And, let me say, if you are new to this podcast, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell so you can always be notified when we go live. And until next time, have a powerful day.
Any milk in there? It's for her.
Basketball? I don't know if you're going to say it. I don't know.
It's going to be his answer now for every week moving forward.
It's for her.
Willow?
Not a clue.
Yeah.
Oh, and I've told you, I've never watched that movie ever. I feel so bad.
No,
I
that's
know.
why I was even hesitant to even tag Joe in it, but I'm like, probably will. He
I still love Warwick Davis. I mean, you know why I already love him. I love Leprechaun. God damn, do I love those movies. So, it's funny, and you were showing respect to Willow, and then at the end, I think he said, "May the Force be with you." So he was acknowledging Star Wars. So, I mean, there's a plethora of things he's done. I'd love to see him do more. I wonder why he didn't do the recent Leprechaun movie that was real shitty, because it kept in with continuity.
WWF, it was their film, so they wanted their own guy playing Leprechaun.
No, Vince was like,
wait a second, no, not the shitty. No, not that shitty one. There was a new one that just came out recently, and it kept on going with the story.
No.
Yeah, and it kept with the story part on it. I was like, wow, they're even acknowledging the people in part 1. So
I didn't even know they did that. I just know about the Leprechaun origin.
It wasn't bad, but I didn't like the prosthetics. I know it sounds bizarre, but like the teeth loft, they were trying to make him look like he did in the original ones, but this new actor he didn't have the charisma. He didn't have the it factor as Warwick Davis. I mean, that is Leprechaun. But sure, that WWE Studios one, oh dear God, that was a disaster. I sat through 10 minutes. I was like, what the fuck is this? Leprechaun or whatever it was called.
That was Vince. He's like, we got Hornswoggle on our roster. Oh, goddamn. Oh, I got to do the Leprechaun.
Oh, was he Leprechaun? I didn't even know. I didn't even watch it.
It was
Hornswoggle. Christ almighty. God, I could barely make it through. Like I said, I watched about 10 minutes, and I was like, I'm just not feeling this.
Nothing against that guy. He seems like a very funny ass.
No, I just didn't like it. I wanted to feel like it was like that's the thing. The recent Leprechaun movie that came out was with continuity. I was like, okay, I'm giving it a chance, but the actor was just. I was like, I'm not feeling it.
Is that on any streaming service? Or you gotta go rent it.
No, I rented it before Family Video went out of business.
That's a bummer too. Really, because that seemed like a really good store, or like that was sort of the last remnants of what you would think a video store would be.
Of the COVID-19 put them out of business. There was no new movies going on. They had to shut down, so they closed. I mean, that was the last place to go rent with your family and get stuff. And the last movie I got, It was on the last day they're open. It was for 50 cents. I got one of Paul Mooney's stand-up for only 50 cents. So I was like, that's the last thing I bought at a video store was a Paul Mooney stand-up DVD, which is cool.
And
Paul
you know,
Mooney's.
if you would have had that 50 cents, you wouldn't have to worry about the tax and Wendy's.
Catastrophe today. Oh, God. See you guys next time.